Hey guys, we are live. Let's see, the date today is July. What's the date, Mariah?
27th.
It is July 27th. We are going to do the best of the best, dumbest comments on this channel for the past week. All of these award winners have been notified in the comment section that they were going to get a personalized reply tonight. I won't be using their names in the video though, but in the past, when just sheer brutal stupidity, made itself known on the channel, at first I would just immediately ban them because what's the point of leaving them around and having them comment more? It made everybody more stupid. And then I would berate them before banning them, and then I started just berating them, and I realized that I was really missing out on some really crucial stuff because, come on, these people make themselves look bad and are providing us with free entertainment that I'm not taking advantage of, and we're going to change that tonight. So that's what we're going to do. Is we are going to go over, what's up, Jeremiah, the dumbest comments of the week, and we'll save the best for last. Printed them out. And if for anybody who's wondering and watching right now, the adventure crafts should be coming very soon. The first full run of them, they are at Grizzly Outdoors getting kydex done. I think they've been there a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks now. I've kind of lost track, but they should be done soon, and those should be up. I'm getting blown up all the time about that. So I'm only gonna have about 10 knives. I figure I'm gonna give people a week of prior notice. Nice. I'm glad the notification worked. I'm gonna try and give everybody a week prior notice before those go up for sale. At the exact time they'll go up for sale, they'll go up on beachandtactical.com, and the cat is outside. She's fine. You're gonna have to be quick to get them. All right, guys. So I'm going to try and save the 1911 versus Glock 45 ACP versus 9mm. What nobody will tell you video.
He didn't hear you.
Attracts stupid like nothing else I've ever seen. And in general, firearms discussions attract more ignorance than anything else on the planet. And I think the root cause of that is the same as the root cause of the ignorance in the knife and bushcraft and survival industries. And that is there's a vast number of people with zero experience of what they're talking about, and they build their opinions based on what their friends say, what they hear, and what they get. And all of that basically comes from marketing and not personal experience. So Dunning-Kruger effect, the less you know, the more confidence you have. Confidence goes through the roof. It's worse in the firearms industry than it is for bushcraft or survival or knives, because more people, not many people use those, but more people do than actual firearms. And so that video, we're going to save that video for last, and we're going to save the worst comment from that video for last because it's brutal. And we'll start out with a comment from the Ruger Mark IV Hunter video, Game Changer or Epic Fail. And I'll tell you what videos these are from. I might put links in the description box below later so you can go read them yourselves if you're so inclined. So I wasn't really happy with the Ruger Mark IV in the video. I talked about how it basically had shot itself all to pieces. All the parts that could have fallen off of it had fallen off of it like it was some big recoiling gun. It just wasn't really what I was hoping it would be. So this guy, I'm not going to give names again, says, yeah, this gun is awesome. Can care less what White Urkel with a Fro Hulk and some tough guy arm tats on a soy latte boy has to say about this gun. Oh, would you look at this? Would you look at that? Oh, did I do that? So I feel like this person not only has a very strong opinion about the firearm and would dislike anybody with a differing opinion, and cannot expand his mind enough to even watch the video or learn. But literally, this person is so stupid that they can't put their thoughts onto the computer screen. And the harder people try to make an insult, the dumber they look. White Urkel with a fro Hulk and some tough guy arm tats on a soy latte boy. That's pretty stupid. It gets worse from here. All right. The only other comment that is not from the 1911 verse Glock. This is all in 1 week, by the way. It's on the SE Hungless 2. How long will this broken knife last? So first, I had already broken the Hungless 2, and we were going to see how long it would take to break the rest of the way, because the reality of a survival situation, a survival knife, is if you break your knife, the game's not over. There's no warranty. There's no sending it back. There's no buying a new one. There's no just going home. You're still in a survival situation. So I wanted to see how long the knife would last since it was already broken. And so we broke it. Yeah, we killed the crap out of that thing. And I did this with Justin Vidito, military guy like myself, and you'd probably know him better. He was on the History Channel's Alone, season 2, and he knows a thing or two about survival as a survival instructor and a firearms instructor. We tried to give a few possible instances where you might need to use a knife in a way other than you think that you will, but the only way to really know how these situations arise is to have been in them. So being in the military, you realize you did some really weird stuff with your tools when you had to, because you had to do what you had to do, and that was it. And they're just off the wall things that you would never think of that just seemed weird. And so a person who's never actually been in a survival situation or never actually done much of anything would never understand how that could possibly happen. And that's where this guy comes from. Simple wedge crafting would have stopped the knife from being damaged. I should correct his grammar here. Simple wedge crafting would have stopped the knife being damaged. As for prying to escape from a car, breaking glass is much quicker. So we're talking about a survival tool here. In a survival emergency, like if you're out playing bushcraft and you can be out all day, sit there and whittle some tools. That is not the reality of survival, and it hasn't been for probably about 1,000 years, maybe more. So already we can tell that the mindset here is the whole bushcraft cult that has absolutely nothing to do with survival and is based on bush fantasy. But I just replied, oh, cool story. And he comes back, stuck in a ravine, flash flood coming quick, but a rope at the top already in place. Ha ha. We talked about a possible flash flood in a ravine. A lot of people are actually killed by that. I don't know what he's talking about with a rope already in place. Should teach people correct use of knives to make improvised wooden tools. Again, bushcraft fantasyland. I know you want to break then knife, but you're giving people improper and stupid abuse of a knife. Steel in general is very strong. There has never been excuses to show people. Even cheap knives can do what you have shown. So this guy literally is so stupid that he can't even fathom what we did in the video or the importance of what we did in the video. He thinks that any old cheap knife can do it because he's never done anything like it, but he's really into cheap knives. And he completely missed the point of the entire video because he's just too stupid, but he wants to brag about it. So, congratulations. You get the special ed cookie of the day. All right, so we're going to get into the 1911 versus Glock 45 ACP versus 9mm, what nobody will tell you video. And there's a lot of gold here. I mean, this is hard. And if you're not big into guns, it might still be entertaining, or you might just learn something. So in my 1911 versus Glock, in this video, I mentioned that my Glock had basically a Glock malfunction, blew one of his eyes basically out in like the early 90s or something like that. Really, as a data point, is insignificant, but it happened. And I mentioned how that had biased me in the past against Glock. It wasn't a data point at all. It was just a part of my history and how I used to feel about the brand incorrectly. So this person says, was it operator error that took your uncle's eye out? Dude, the Beretta is superior to the 1911 and the Glock. Wake up! Exclamation point. So this special little guy here is referring to the Beretta M9, probably the crappiest sidearm ever fielded by the U.S. military. So worthless that the military treats it as if it was worthless, being that nobody ever takes care of them. They're not oiled. They're basically locked up, but the military does not take care of these firearms, which makes them operate even worse. Almost nobody in the military knows how to use one. You'll see people walking around with them in their pockets, in mag pouches. You're not actually issued a proper holster for them. They're a freaking joke. And you know, your high speed guys, most of them are not using M9s. And most importantly, an M9 will almost never ever see use. Statistically, it's basically an extra weight that people have to carry around, but it's not intuitive in use with the safety. It's not well designed for the size and the weight. Anyways, the Beretta is an absolute piece of trash, and I'm not impressed with anything the Beretta has ever made that's not a shotgun. So that was his first comment. And he says, wake up, as if we were sleeping and hadn't used a Beretta before. Okay, so his next, I told him, I was basically like, dude, the Beretta's garbage. He said, you've never shot, I keep correcting people's grammar because they're so stupid that I just autocorrect. All right. You've not shot one. The most experienced shooters, like Ernest Langton and our military, protect the country with them. Crap, really? You like plastic or 100-year-old technology? Do yourself a favor, shoot one before shooting your mouth. The most experienced shooters, like one guy, and our military protect the country with them. They're so good that the U.S. military uses them to protect innocent babies. So, the first thing I want to say about this is your most brutally stupid and incompetent people will look at sponsored shooters and other people and what they're shooting and automatically equate the professional's use with the quality of the tool. It'd be like the best example of this would be supplements for working out. You've got a picture of some 280-pound guy that's just jacked, a bodybuilder, completely cut, 3% body fat index. And he's like, use this protein powder. And people are like, that's good protein powder because that guy uses it and that's how he got so huge. No, he uses steroids. And he's being paid as a model to show the protein to make brain dead retards buy the product. All right. So I tried to explain to this particular commenter that actually being in the military, one of the people protecting the country, that I not only used an M9, carried an M9 in Afghanistan for a while, but also competed with the M9 in Week of the Eagles, and that it is a hunk of feces. I'm sorry that you like the M9. It's so bad. It's so bad. He says, tell that to Ernest Langton, Grand Thumb, TNP, and the U.S. military that used it since 1986. You're a Glock soy boy. That's okay. So he's telling a military soldier with combat and competitive experience with the pistol that the pistol is great because the military. So he has no concept of how the military works. He's far too stupid for that, and just generally ignorant. Most people are ignorant of the military, but in this guy's case, he's just too stupid. But he's also too stupid to think about what he's saying. Brutal. The M9. All right. You have a high bore axis, incredible weight, 15+1 capacity for a giant heavy platform in 9mm. The military ones aren't even reliable with full metal jacket ball ammunition. The safety is the opposite of intuitive. It's absolutely terrible. And so what Beretta did was they designed this pistol based on parameters set by the military, which were based on ignorance, because the Army has never known how to use a sidearm. I mean, if you want to see the most crappy shooters on the planet with a pistol, look at the U.S. Army or Marine Corps or any other branch. They'll do the teacup. You'll see high ranking. It's because the pistol does not matter in the military. It's just, you know, they don't know. And so when the military, being a socialist organization, makes rules for safety, they are ignorant. And I'd say 99% of the time, inhibit progress rather than protect anybody. So, man, that guy was especially stupid. Another comment, same video. Tall talk from a kid with absolutely no friggin' clue. In this video, by the way, I do mention that I was in the military, had a deployment, learned a lot of this stuff firsthand, over 100 hours of professional private training, a lot of experience with these, and your typical commenter is actually too stupid to watch the whole 3 minutes into the video to get to that point. They might just skim through, but basically they just read the title, are immediately offended, and have an emotional reaction before they even watch the video. So I just commented about how he's some random person like everybody else on YouTube with no experience. Some rando with no experience. I guess you must have to have a YouTube account in order to be an expert. Expert is a has-been, and spurt is a drip under pressure. LOL. So not only does he not say anything of his experience because he has none, but he infers that I'm not an expert just because I have a YouTube channel, a little bit of grammar Tetris with it or something. I mean, that's pretty stupid. That's a pretty stupid comment. We're almost there to number one, but all right, another, obviously same video. By the way, 9mm 45 ACP, neither is a man killer. What that means, not everything that can kill someone is a man killer. Toothpick is not a man killer, a hammer is not a man killer, freaking car is not a man killer, but they can kill you. Both 9mm and 45 ACP are not reliable for immediate incapacitation. For that, you want a rifle, but they are the best option that we have, essentially, to be affordable. And Rick Adams, thanks for having you. Affordable and compact, easy to shoot. So people can't get that through their heads. All right. So neither are man killers. Question mark, exclamation, question mark, exclamation. I'm not even going to get into it, exclamation. I can't stand people that think they know every FKN thing about every FKN thing, especially one that probably ain't even 30 effing years old. Shake my effing head. So when people talk about age, this happens a lot. When the question of respect comes up and someone brings up their age, it's because they've never actually accomplished anything in their life that deserves respect, and they're not high quality of a person or personality enough to earn respect either. They're basically a worthless piece of human trash, but they have lived for more years than someone else in a society where basically nobody dies. Rick Adkins, I will always have more, buddy. So stick around. In our society, almost everybody lives. Being old doesn't mean that you learned anything extra. You can work in a factory and know nothing about how to apply a microchip to a micro or a motherboard, and be 100 years old. So you don't have any wisdom to pass on to anybody. So if someone's only credential that they have is the fact that they're not dead, it literally means that they are a worthless human being. So basically, I was like 30 years old, combat deployment, run my own business, bachelor's degree, have a house. I think I can, all this training, all of this experience, I think I can say a thing or two about what is and isn't a man killer, being that I've shot at men before and been shot at. Boy, you couldn't make an effing homosexual jealous. And yeah, by what I said, I really sound like a know-it-all. Effing millennials. Can't even afford two 1911s, but knows everything about everything. Goodbye. So, okay, let's see here. He deserves respect, and his credentials are being old. Being old, he can afford two guns. He probably can't afford the training to go with them or the ammo to go with them or anything else we talked about in the video. Millennials. We're doing micro generations at this point because technically millennials from 1984 to 2004, but in the span of that 20-year period, so much progress has been made that it's not really a good metric for a single generation. So the difference between someone born in 1990 or the difference between someone being born in 1984 and 1990, maybe same generation. 1990 to 2000, completely different world. And so people just like calling anybody millennial because they drag their knuckles around and they are freaking stupid. So let's hurry up now. We'll get to our dumbest comment of the week. And this comment actually irritates me because this is a very common thing to happen in the bars across the country, online, all of the time. And so it might not sound as stupid to some of you guys, but man, this person right here should have never come. I mean, he's so stupid. He needs to be neutered. IDK, how many real world shooting you have been in, but I'll tell you, as 8 years in the Army, I won't go into any further of what I did, but I have more engagements than I care to count. And yes, I hit my target where I aimed and placed my rounds with my 40. And yeah, they stopped and they died. Talk on what you know, not what you assume, bud. The Army has not ever and will not ever use the 40. 40 is stupid. If he was in the Army and in engagements where he's actually in a firefight, he wouldn't be using a sidearm. It's like this entire run-on sentence was someone screaming that they have never had a real thought or experience, and they want everybody to know about it. This person is the truest of all bottom feeders, knuckle draggers, and window lickers. So he wins the Prepper's Bunker Biggest Retard of the Week award. It's going to be a very prestigious award, and I'm sure that he's gotten laid by a couple of walruses in his time by saying he was in the military. He might have even gotten a few free meals at a couple of restaurants. But this is literally the kind of dude who would be better off why be so stupid? All right, guys, that's enough of that. Oh, so stupid. So, in other news, we can talk about whatever you guys want for a couple minutes, but the adventure crafts, like I said, I really hope to have the adventure crafts in this week, this coming week, and so the next week would be when they go up for sale. Please, you should definitely, if you enjoy this content, have an Instagram. Follow me on there because I'm able to update a lot more information, a lot more small pieces of information more often on Instagram. And so that's the Preppers Bunker Outdoors, but also with these knives, if you're interested in them, they're at Exodus Knife and Tool. I do a lot of my updates through that. I have one prototype knife in with NC Custom Leather right now, the French Foreign Legion Fighter. So when I get that back, we will be doing some testing with that. And then I have another prototype on the way. That is the Jackalope. It will be the next life. It'll be the next knife in the Adventure Craft line. And so essentially it is more of your traditional bushcraft size, but not your traditional bushcraft design. I believe it personally to be a superior design. We'll see if some of the influences that I've taken in designing this knife will come through the way that I want in practical use when it comes in the mail. But I think that for a mid-grade bushcraft knife package, it's going to be the best out there with handle contouring, material, quality. It's all handmade, and the design I think is just the best. Essentially, I took a lot of inspiration. My friend Jose, again from season 2 of Alone, has a knife that he made. He made me a copy of it. And it has a lot of Native American and Scandinavian influence in it. It's almost like a puko, but it's got a bit of a trailing point and a big handle. And the trailing point, which is not obviously a center point, it's on the top of the edge, but it's a little bit thinner. And when you're carving with wood and you need to get into a little space, you can get into way tighter spots with it. And there's no big guard, so you can get the edge right up close to your hand. There's no sharpening choil, so there's nothing to get caught on game if you're prepping game and stuff like that. So I've drawn on a few different things with this knife, but I think it's going to be a game changer. And the reason that my Adventure Craft line of knives, I don't market as simple bushcraft knives. Jeremiah, Foreign Legion pants. That sounds pretty cool. And you're right about threadbare pants. They're nice. So bushcraft should be a set of skills that you use in the middle of an adventure. So you're going caribou hunting, okay? So here's you. Here's the caribou. Here's getting home. Somewhere here or here in prepping your camp or in a possible emergency, you might need to use some bushcraft skills. And going out and practicing those skills is absolutely prudent to do. But those skills, I don't believe, should be the focus of the adventure. The adventure is not for the bushcraft. It's not a hiking trip with some carving and fire making and tool making, although that's great. But for me, the adventure is the caribou hunt. It's not just these points in between A and B. It's A all the way to B. And that's what the Adventure Craft line is going to be about. Knives are easy to carry, a pleasure to use, and incredibly versatile for a very broad range of tasks. So they will excel, or they might even do better than bushcraft, typical bushcraft knives at bushcraft, but they're also going to be skinners. They're also going to be EDC knives. They're going to be super easy to keep an edge on. They're going to keep an edge a long time. They're going to be really tough. They're going to be able to fulfill a role to some degree as a survival knife if necessary. Exodus Knife and Tool also have a survival line of knives and a fighting line of knives. And those will be tailored a little bit differently than the Adventure Craft line. But the Adventure Craft line is probably going to be the line of knives that would be most likely to be used if you did find yourself to be in a survival situation, because they're going to be the knives that you want to carry. They're going to be the knives that really perform and are just a joy to use. And so like I said, the next installment of the Adventurecraft line is the Jackalope. You can see a picture of the prototype on Exodus Knife and Tools Instagram. I'll probably share that over to the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors as well. And Instagram is really right now a much more freedom-loving platform than Facebook, even though they're ran by the same people, probably because it's harder to regulate pictures. And so it's a better place to be. I'm actually currently in Facebook jail. So I called a Pakistani-made knife company Paki Crap, referring to the knives. Apparently that's racist. Some freaking fat gender fluid walrus on the other side of the computer screen didn't like that I said that. Or they're being paid by the Pakistani market that's just saturating the US economy right now. Who knows? But yeah, Facebook jail. So definitely the most reliable place to get at me is Instagram or here. So thanks for being here, guys. I'll try next week. Next week is my anniversary, 6 years of being married. So I probably won't be doing this, but I might be doing it on Friday. So best of the best, dumbest comments of the week. If you think of a better name for this video series, I had a name and I forgot it. So let me know sometime. It's been a pleasure having you guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day.